Somewhere, right now, in some quiet room or crowded street, a man with duller eyes, less intelligence, and a softer spine is taking what your hands were meant to hold, not because he earned it, not because the gods smiled on him, but because he moves like he deserves it. He breathes certainty. He wraps himself in a false armor of belief, and the world, blind and hungry for confidence, kneels. While you wonder if the time is right, he's already claimed your prize. While you practice the perfect sentence in your skull, his mouth spills half-truths like gospel, and no one questions him. While you stand at the edge of the river waiting for the current to calm, he steps in, gets wet, and takes the fish you were praying would swim to your feet. You feel the spark, but you hush it. You feel the wolf clawing inside your ribs, but you chain it. You were not born hesitant. They trained you to beg, to check twice, to shrink at the idea of offense. And you obeyed. You wear your caution like a leash. You bow to permission like a god. And that is why the meek are devoured, not by the strong, but by the bold. You think confidence is for the naturally loud, the naturally bright, the naturally chosen. Lieutenant, confidence is theft. It's an invasion. It's the hammer that shatters locked doors. It does not whisper. It declares. It does not hope. It bends reality. Confidence is not a trait. It's a weapon. And if you refuse to hold it, it will be used against you by men who should never have owned it. This is not about pep talks. This is not about feeling good. This is about becoming untouchable, about slaughtering the trembling child inside who still asks, "Am I allowed?" He has to die, or you will. Look around. This machine they built, schools, screens, rules, repetition, it carves obedience into your bone. They feed you praise for staying quiet. They punish the howl in you. They wrap your wildness in politeness until you forget you were ever meant to hunt. Now there's a voice in your head. It questions. It hesitates. It apologizes before you even open your mouth. You think that's you. Number that's programming, a ghost, a guard dog for your own cage. Kill it, or kneel forever. Understand this. The world does not reward virtue. It rewards presence. It does not care who is worthy. It cares who is certain. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote it centuries ago, and nothing has changed. The throne is rarely held by the noble. It's held by the bold. And if you want to drag your life from the swamp of hesitation, you must invert your instincts. When your shoulders tighten with self-doubt, widen them. When your tongue curls to explain, bite it. When your gut says wait, move. The old reflex must die, and you must become its executioner. The confident do not wait to be ready. They move as if they've always been ready. Confidence is not a mood. It's rebellion against the version of you that's been shaped to please. And once you taste it, you'll see how sickly sweet the world becomes. Doors open for men who do not ask permission to walk through them. So every thought that shrinks you, kill it. Every habit that softens you, break it. Every memory that tethers you to who you were, burn it. And if a person feeds your weakness, cut them off like gangrene. You were told to be nice, to be agreeable. But look around, are nice men respected? Number they are drained dry. They are kept as options. And when the world is done with them, it spits them out. Power respects precision. Power respects ruthlessness when aimed inward, at the parts of you that beg for approval. Silence that internal beggar. Rip out his tongue. You don't need their praise. You don't need their permission slips signed in invisible ink. You need only this: the willingness to become feared, not by the world, but by the version of you that's terrified of stepping forward, because when the servant dies, the sovereign rises. You think power announces itself? Number power arrives like dusk, quiet, unhurried, unstoppable. A truly dangerous man speaks little because his silence does the hunting. He sits in the corner while others perform. He watches while they reveal their secrets. He waits because the man who listens first always owns the man who talks too soon. The man who speaks first bleeds first. The man who explains exposes. The man who apologizes kneels. Speak as if your words are iron. Sentences should fall like hammers. When you speak, do it like your mouth ends the conversation, not opens it. Never rush to fill the quiet. Weak men panic in silence. Strong men rule in it. When the room holds its breath to hear you speak, you've won long before your lips part. Don't crave agreement. Expect compliance. Don't invite understanding. Deliver finality. This is not arrogance. This is clarity, sharpened to a knife's edge. Argue nothing. Defend nothing. Just state it. That's incorrect. Then move on. Every second you explain yourself, you place your identity up for auction, and the world will bid it down to scraps. Your power does not live in the volume of your voice. It lives in the weight of your certainty. Emotion bends to certainty. People follow leaders not because they are right, but because they move like they must be. So cut the soft edges from your speech. No more, I think. No more, maybe. No more does that make sense. Your voice should sound like the final word, the period, not the question mark. And when you're challenged, smile. Say nothing. Let the silence do the burning. That void is terrifying. That void is power. It tells the world, my reality does not bend for yours. But presence alone is not enough. There is another layer, deeper, colder, untouchable. Emotional sovereignty. Most men master posture, style, words, but their hearts still belong to strangers. One insult sends them spiraling. One cold glance ruins their day. One rejection, and they crumble, drunk on questions that will never be answered. That is not power. That is exposure. A man who cannot own his emotions is a man kept on a leash by anyone who learns where to pull. So you become unreachable. Not numb, precise. You feel the wound, but you do not bleed for the crowd. Someone insults you. You don't react. You observe. Why now? What weakness do they hope to find? Someone praises you. You don't melt. You dissect. What do they want? What leverage hides in that honey? Your feelings are yours alone, and if no one can move them without your consent, you become a ghost they can't grab. Most will never get this far. They will drown forever in the tide of wanting to be understood, liked, loved, forgiven. They'll chase apologies. They'll explain themselves dry. They'll die explaining. Not you. You don't chase closure. You become it. Your silence is your closing argument. Your absence is your revenge. Rejection? Not a wound. A signal. A gift. When someone can walk away from you, believe them. They just told you how blind they are, and blindness disqualifies. Good. Let them go. Because while they tell stories about why they left, you write a new one they'll have to watch unfold from the cheap seats. Your evolution is cold because it's pure. You do not need rejection to grow. You start rejecting first. You reject the piece of you that apologizes for wanting more. You reject the habit of shrinking to fit their comfort. You reject the urge to beg for understanding, because you understand yourself now, and that's final. You no longer wait to be chosen. You become the standard. You no longer explain, you declare. You no longer seek a throne. You sit down and make the room revolve around you. This is how your presence haunts people. Not through noise, but through gravity. They speak more carefully around you. They watch your face for a hint of reaction, and find none. They remember how easily you used to be moved. Now they flinch when your silence meets their chaos and doesn't blink. You no longer exist to be liked. You exist to be remembered. You no longer exist to fit. You exist to bend the room. So here is the last truth. You are not here to be explained. You are not here to be excused. You are not here to be pitied or praised. You are here to be impossible to ignore, not because you scream, but because when you finally speak, your words hit like judgment. And when you say nothing, your silence says everything. The man who walks in hoping to be noticed will always bow. The man who walks in knowing the air will shift has already won. So do not announce your evolution. Let them feel it. Do not broadcast your edge. Let it cut them when they get too close. This is not self-help. This is war, the quiet kind, fought in rooms full of noise. And you, now, are the blade.